Project Blunderhawk. Hi everyone and welcome to Project Blunderhawk episode 9. We have finally made some visual progress on the Thunderhawk, as you'll see that the wings are now permanently on, glued onto their pins. If you do use this method with these pins that I've done, you probably, if you drill the holes properly into each ring, you probably don't even need to glue the wings on. You could probably use these 2 pins or even a third pin in the middle to make it so that you can actually remove the wings for transport. For this project I have actually now physically glued the wings on, and I'll show you why I've taken that choice. Some of the bits that we had problems with the wings was there was a gap in here, which I've just used a bit of plasticard, which I put this in. There's a piece of a wall on the end of this engine part, which you can actually put the plasticard up against and draw around it to make these little tabs, and there's another one on the bottom where it doesn't quite fit properly. But yeah, you can see that we're getting to the final stages of the project now. In the last part I told you that this bottom bit was slightly bent, and so I'm putting the top bit together, which I have now put together. This is now pinned between the joins and been wherever there's been gaps has been milli putted, so this bit is solid. It won't bend. When I put the 2 bits together, this bottom half does need bending up towards the top half a little bit to stop it from being slightly bent. And this does have a bit of wiggle on it. So to stop that movement, when I say wiggle, it goes like that a bit. So stop that. When I glue the 2 bits together, I've got some pinning in the back and the front, and then it will just be glued together, and I think it will be quite a solid fit. I have finished the internal combat. It's just a silver dry brush. I'm not really going to be doing it any more detail than that on the inside. The doors, the side doors, and this bottom ramp door which goes through here, they did need a considerable amount of reshaping. Just did that with a file. They needed filing down quite a bit to fit in the holes. They were too big for the holes. They are now so tight in the holes that I've just decided to not glue them. I'm just going to leave them like that. They are such a tight fit, all 3 of these doors, that I don't feel like I need to actually glue them at this point. I might glue them in the future if this comes a problem, but I'm just going to leave them as touch tight at the moment. So that's one big update on the project, having the wings on and things being to look more like the Thunderhawk. In the next part I will have the top on and the front on, and be starting adding some of the bits to the model. Let me just take this away for a second. Right, let's look at the top part. One of the bits we needed to do from the last bit was to add this bit too. There was quite a few gaps here, so that's been milli putted on. The gun needs adding obviously later. Taken off the air brakes. They don't actually fit perfectly on this model, so I had to also file down the original bits. These are actually touch tight now, and I probably will do the same as with the doors. I will just push them into position, and the weight of the actual the fit will hold them into place. I've got no interest. Not really bothered about. I may put a little bit of glue on them, but really they will just sit in there. That's no problems. The silver for this bit. This will have more details painted on it later, and then inside a bit more work there. But yeah, this is solid, so that bit's ready to go. I've started spray painting some bits for the project now, the original bits, and doing some magnetizing. So the missiles, I've been, let me just sort of zoom in, I've been magnetizing those. I've just been using one magnet on these. I've been using a piece of paper to sort of like gauge where to drill the hole. You can't drill too far in you can't drill too far into this piece because it is so thin. The cross section is so thin, so you'll see that the magnets for these sit above, because I didn't want to drill right through and have a hole in the model. So the real countersink is in here. You can drill a deeper hole in the missile because it's thicker, and then what you do is you sit the magnet on here, you set another magnet on top, and then you've got the deeper hole. You drill the hole until the magnet is deep enough, and then you just put a bit of glue with the magnet sitting on there. You just put a bit of glue on top of that, and then you push the two together, and then the magnet will sit naturally perfectly in that hole in the top. Obviously this has been primed a lot of the different parts now. I will show you the magnetization on the wing part probably in the next one, but this is the heavy bolter mounts for the wings. How did I do it? I think there's just two more magnets in the wings. They didn't need to touch. When they were touching, this didn't sit flat on in the actual wing pylon. So I think there's two magnets. These are 5x2s. I think there's two in the wing, in the middle, and it's and once this is sitting in the wing, there will be a gap between the magnets, so there'll be a weaker attracting force. But I didn't want the magnets to put too much of a pressure on the pieces, and with an extra magnet, this sips out of the lip of the wing a bit. But I'll show you that on the next episode. These are the X-wings. This is the only bit that I feel that might be a little bit, I might not have done quite right. There is a magnet in this. It's a square magnet, which they tend to have a stronger pull. I've only done one in the middle. When this is in the up X-wing thing, the magnetic force is quite weak. It's enough to hold it in position, and with the weight of the guns on top, I've tested it. But also this fitting here with these two bits is so tight that it just sits there anyway. So I'm hoping that's good enough for the final piece. If I find that the wing becomes floppy and it can't hold up in the X-wing position, I'm just going to probably make a stick or some sort of physical thing to hold it up, and just add that at a later date to be able to put it into the attack position and hold it there. But I think that at the moment that these rectangular magnets are strong enough to hold them up in a weak position. What else have I done? That's pretty much it for this week. I've got another probably 3 or 4 days to go on this project. Well, probably another two or 3 days to go before I'll be painting it. As you see, I've started priming the parts individually just because they're going to be easier to reach. Some of them are going to be easier to reach with the primer. I've seen a lot of people actually build the whole thing before they've even bothered to paint it. I will be going across the whole thing with airbrush at some point, and I'll be covering up the exposed bits once I've built the fuselage and the tops on and the front door is shut. The only bit where the paint could get into the bit that I've painted inside will be the cabin, so I'll be coming up with some sort of shield to put on top of the cabin to keep that bit from the paint getting in there, and then I'll just be blasting it all over with a base coat, which will be Corvus black, because this will be a Raven Guard Thunderhawk. So so yeah, hopefully by the time I get to the next episode, we will have the fuselage together. The other bits that I've done, but I haven't got the bits with me, are the tail, the rudder, and the underneath. There's a little bit for the tail underneath as well, which will probably go on last because it will probably get in the way. And then the next bit I've got to work on is the base. I have actually bought a base for it. I got this off Amazon. I can't remember how wide this is. I think it's like 8 inches or something like that. It's heavy wood. I have bought some dumbbell weights to possibly go on top. I'm feeling that this might be wide enough. If the balancing point on the model where I've drilled the hole for the pole is in the right position, this base is probably going to be wide enough and heavy enough to support the Thunderhawk as it is, and I won't have to add those dumbbells to it, because if I have to add the dumbbells, I'm gonna have to disguise them somehow on top here. I'm gonna have to come up with a clever way to disguise them so they blend in, so I can make it a scenic base. But yeah, it's yeah, that bit's going to be tricky, but I feel like this might be heavy enough on its own and wide enough. I'll come back to you on that. That'll be another bit for the next episode. But yeah, thanks again for keeping up the series. If you have any questions about if you've got this kit and have any questions about what I've done with it, just drop them in the comments, and I'll see what I can do. Yeah, see you on the next one. Cheers.